On the morning that I would need the projector, it decides to have that again. The beginning of a new year, we're not quite there yet, but we're almost there. But I started thinking about how can we look at starting the new year? Because you're going to get all kinds of advice, people telling you what to eat, what not to eat, what to wear, how to be, what to think, all of those things. Some people make New Year's resolutions, some people don't. Some people set intentions, other people say it's just another day. Wherever you are on the spectrum, whatever it is, one thing we can't ignore is that we will be going from the year 2019 into the year 2020. There's even debate as to whether the next decade starts on January 1, 2020 or starts on January 1, 2021, because there was no year zero. And people are looking at me like, what, why? And so there are people that even have debate about whether to designate January 1, 2020 the start of a new decade or not, or wait another whole year. So wherever you are on that, I'm offering you my own take on how to start the new year, how to do some things to help you and me, because this is a reminder, first and foremost for me, as to how to start the new year. So I'm going to take the word start, and using the word start, bring some ideas. And the first thing that I'd like to suggest that I think is important for starting the year, starting the new year, is to start the day intentionally. Not just get up in the morning and say, oh God, it's another day. But oh God, it's another day. Starting the day with intention. Starting the day with a feeling of purpose. Starting the day setting our minds toward a goal. Seeing and visualizing how we'd like for the day to begin, I think is important. There are many devotional resources that are available to help you. There's still a group of us that have continued since we started back in November, that every morning we text one another 3 things that we're grateful for that particular day, to start our day in gratitude. There's the open heart prayer call. We start at 8 and it's over in 7 minutes or so. And Villa and Gabriel and I are those that we rotate and bring ourselves into that with people that gather. And not only are there people from Memphis that are on the prayer line, but there are people from all over. We have people from California, people from North Carolina, people from Washington State, other people that are on the line in the mornings that are part of the prayer call. That's a way to do it. Because the thing of it is that when we start our day with intention, it helps us because things begin to happen. As we shift and we focus our attention on things, and you always hear me say, pay attention to what you're paying attention to, because if you're focusing on negative things, if you're focusing on what could go wrong, if you're focusing on what's not right, then that's what you're going to tend to get more of. But when we begin setting our intention and focusing on the good things, focusing on those things that we wish to have happen, it changes for us. And we have to remember that thoughts lead to attitudes, and attitudes lead to actions. Is that positive thinking? No. It's positive focus. Positive thinking is that if you're drowning, then you'll say everything's great. I'm going down, but everything's great. I almost can't breathe, but everything's great. I'm taking in water, but everything's great. Positive focus says that everything will be okay as soon as I get to shore. And I'm going to focus on getting to shore, and I'm not going to let anything stop me from getting to the shore. So number 1, we start the day intentionally. Number 2, we take time to center down. Howard Thurman, the great mystic and one of the people who was very influential in his writings and in his work on me, and even in the formation of Open Heart. There are parts of Open Heart that were taken from the church of Howard Thurman, the Church of the Fellowship of All Peoples in San Francisco, that Howard Thurman founded way back in the 40s. That was a church that accepted all people, that was multicultural, it was integrated way back during that time. And one of the things that he had during his service was something called, ta-da, the century moment. And there are a few other things that he had that were a part of that when I was putting the ideas for Open Heart together that I took. But one of the things that Howard Thurman talked about in his writings, that it's good to center down. So take the time to center down. Allow some time for prayer, for meditation, for reflection, or some other way of centering. Acknowledge the presence of God in your life. When you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, you can close your eyes and begin to breathe slowly. When things around you are swirling and things are seeming to get out of hand, you can find that place. It's there in you. Even sometimes when you don't feel like it's there, you can find that place within you that helps you to recognize and realize that all is well. I remember, and I've told the story of a woman who came to Open Heart. She only visited us one time. And it was years later that she was traveling on an airplane with her husband. And the airplane got to one of those places where they lose the air pockets and things that flow. And the plane started to plummet down. And she said that in that moment, what she remembered was being at Open Heart and hearing us say, it's all God. And in the midst of that happening, in the midst of her telling her husband goodbye, she started to feel this and find this place within her that continued to say, it's all God, it's all God. And soon the plane was able to right itself, and it was able to continue the journey, and they ended up not having the crash that they thought was going to happen because of finding that place even in the midst of chaos, even in the midst of things going out of control. There is that place in us, that centering place, that place of calm. It does make a difference. The A stands for accept change. Accept change. The one constant in life is change. The great author Octavia Butler said that all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Accept change. Change is going to happen whether we like it or not. Change is coming. When we find ourselves inflexible and resistant to change, then it means that we will find ourselves broken. We will find ourselves rigid and not able to move and to flow with the flow because we don't accept change. We resist change. We don't allow the fact that change is going to happen. We all are going to have change in our lives. We all grow older. We hopefully grow wiser. We all find ourselves with things happening for us. But change is important and it's a constant. The African proverb, you never step into the same river twice, is very true. That everything that we see is changing. But we can learn to flow with the flow. A lot of people say, well, I'm open to change, I can accept change and all of that. But it's more difficult very often than we think. But learning to accept change. Life and growth are steady partners. They move together. Life and growth. As a part of the things that happen in life, we can learn from them that help us to change. Gail Sheehy says that if we don't change, we don't grow. And if we don't grow, we are not really living. So deep down inside, we all want to live before we die. So commit to understanding how we can change and grow and become a master at creating a life anew each day. Setting our attention, we can set life and celebrate life anew. The next thing we do is we learn to release the past. To release the past. The past is a stepping stone and not a stopping point. The past is a stepping stone and not a stopping point. The past is a stepping stone and not a stopping point. I remember years ago in helping some people to realize that they were caught up in some things that were happening in their lives, some decisions that they had to make, and they were agonizing over that. And the thing that I shared with them is that in this moment, the most important thing you can realize is that what you're dealing with right now is a step and not a stop. There's a difference between a step and a stop. A step may be those momentary decisions that we make in order to get to the next level, but it's not a stop. There was a person who was talking to me about wanting employment, and when the job opportunities that came open to them were seemingly few and far in between, and there was one that they didn't want to take, I said, again, this is a step and not a stop. You can start working there today, and then as you continue, you can still be looking for something different as you move through that. And this person ultimately took that step and made something out of to the point that they now are an entrepreneur because they were able to understand, right now, I'm learning, I'm doing, I'm getting what it is that I need. It's a step and not a stop. Another part of releasing the past is that we sometimes become so mired in the past because we want to hold on to the good times and see the not so good times move away, but we still get stuck in them. But the thing of it is to remember this: whether it's something we label and identify as good or bad, this too shall pass. You have to learn to accept that. And a part of that, when it comes to unpleasant things in our lives, is the F word. Forgiveness. I thought I was going to say something.
I did.
Forgiveness is important when it comes to releasing the past. Sometimes you have to say that word too, but it is declaring. Forgiveness is declaring that prior hurts, injustices, pain, and mistreatment no longer have power over us. I'm going to say that again. Forgiveness is an important part of releasing the past. It is declaring that prior hurts, injustices, pain, and mistreatment no longer have power over us. Forgiveness and releasing the past is about us and not the other person. So when someone does something to us and we decide that we're going to forgive them, it doesn't mean that we're condoning their actions. It doesn't mean that we're saying that what happened to us is all right. It doesn't mean any of that. What it does mean, though, is I care enough about me to move on. And so I'm going to move on, and I'm not going to allow this to happen. I remember years ago when I was in high school, there was a guy that for whatever reason, I was walking down the steps, and he pushed me. And I went tumbling down the steps, and I knocked two young ladies over on the way down. And when I woke up, I was so mad. Those two young ladies apologized to me for being in my way as I knocked them down going down the steps. But I got up and I was so mad, and I grabbed him and I started hitting him with everything that I had. Why would you do that? And I went on and on and on. And then he tried to tell me he was sorry, but I walked away. And then the rest of the day and days following, anytime he came around, I would either get up and move, or I would be so miserable because he was around, and he kept trying to say he was sorry, and I kept telling him, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it. And finally it got to the point where he just left it alone. Well, I tried, but he doesn't want to hear it. So every time he came someplace or somebody mentioned his name, I was miserable. I was just bothered by him being around. And then one day it finally occurred to me that if I don't let this go, that I'm going to be the one ultimately thinking I'm punishing him. I'm punishing myself because I'm trying to avoid him. I'm trying to go the other way. I'm trying to get people to change their conversation so they don't mention him. If he walks into the classroom or the cafeteria, I try to get out. I'm making my life miserable because I won't let it go. Doesn't mean what he did was right. Doesn't mean that I agreed with it, any of that. But it means that for my own sake, I had to forgive. Forgiveness is for us and not the other person. And then finally, we learn to taste the present moment. So much of our time is invested in either thinking about the past and all that happened, or pondering about the future, that we miss the present is where we are. we don't fully bring ourselves into the present moment because we're so caught up in the past or so concerned and pondering over the future. And attention to the present moment transforms what we do. Attention to the present moment is something that we can practice any place, at any time, and we don't have to do anything special other than to stay in the moment, to breathe, to see ourselves and to feel ourselves where we are, to pay attention to where we are there. The next time that you take a bath or a shower, practice for a moment being in the present moment. Rather than worrying about, well, what time is it and where I got to go and what they said and all of this, take the time to notice and feel the temperature of the water. Take the time to smell the fragrance of the soap or the body wash or whatever it is that you're using to cleanse yourself. Notice the things that are around you as you are there. Taking the time to be in the present moment. Notice the feel of the towel as you're drying yourself off. Become aware of where you are and expand that practice. When you sit down to eat, rather than gulping down the food, take thoughtful, mindful bites, enjoying the food. We gulp so much of it down, we never pay attention. A lot of times, if I were to ask you 10 minutes after you ate, what did you have? You're going to pause for a minute to try and remember what it was that you had. But if you take the time to savor the food and enjoy the food and allow yourself to be there with the food, it will help you to bring yourself into the present moment. And it also helps us to eat less as well. But if we expand this practice more and more into life itself, then we learn to live in the present moment. That when we are with other people, we find ourselves in that way. I don't know about you, but I've met people who, when I'm talking with them, it's obvious that the only two people in the room are us. And ultimately, the only thing in the room is presence, because they give me the present of their presence. And I know that they're totally focused on me. They're listening to whatever it is I have to say. They're not trying to think up, what story they're going to tell to go with my story or tell me about what happened with their uncle or the time of this or that. But they're completely open and present and giving the gift of themselves. When we learn to taste the present moment, we are giving life itself a gift by being present. We're giving it a present and giving ourselves the opportunity to taste and to feel and to see and to experience the present moment. When we do these things, this is a way to start the new year. This is the way to see things happen. This is the way to declare that 2020 is going to be our best year yet. This is an opportunity to bring ourselves into focus, into vibration, into alignment, into understanding all things flowing for us in ways untold. This is an opportunity for each and every one of us to be great. Go forth and be great. Go forth and understand who you are. Go forth and feel all that is flowing through you. Go forth and know that Source has got your back. One of my friends posted a picture of her newborn grandbaby. Baby's probably maybe about a couple of months old now, and sitting there, it's asleep. And as I looked on the face of that baby, I responded back to her post that said, blissful, unbothered sleep, the best kind there is. And I thought about it for a moment. If I put myself in that baby's position, that baby is there asleep in such a way because that baby knows that her universe has got her. Her universe, her parents, grandparents, all the people around her have got her, that all is well. I'm telling you today, the universe has got you. All is well. And so it is.
breath, knowing that there is only one power and one presence in the universe, and that is God. And as each of us takes in all that we have learned today, we take it in, we make it our own, we simply live in those very truths. We give thanks for all who have participated today. We give thanks for the lesson, the centering moment, the affirmative reading, the beautiful music, and just all of the beautiful energy that each and every person has brought into this space, into this place today. Moving forward, knowing that I'm going to start a brand new year. I'm going to start my year intentionally. I'm going to accept change. I am going to just be present. And I'm going to forgive. Knowing that all truly is well. And so I release, I let go, and I let God, and so it is. So it is.